Opinions expressed in this program are those of the program's host and guests, and not necessarily those of WSTU management, staff, or sponsors. WSTU does not endorse any products mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. It's now time for Leadership in Business, brought to you by John Campion of European Kitchen and Bath and Todd Harris of Crown Car Care. Call in with questions and comments. 220-9788. 220-WSTU. And now, here's your host.
And good evening, afternoon, Martin County. This is John Campion, your host for Leadership in Business, with my good friend, Big Frank Mezzapel.
Stop it with that Big Frank.
I thought about that the other day.
Oh, my God. So I have a rental car right now because mine's in the shop.
How do you fit in it?
Well, very easily. So I have to slide. It was one of those electric adjustable seats. So I had it, in a forward position, and so I brought it over my son's shop where he works. I said, "Hey, well, you want to see the rental car? Because it's a Dodge Charger, nice, right?"
Yeah.
Or Challenger. It's
okay.
Anyway, so it's, a little sporty. It's sportier than what I normally drive, right? So anyways, I took it over to my son's shop. I said, "Hey, do you want to take a look at the car?" And he says, "Sure." So I said, "Well, you just put your foot on the brake and push the button and it'll start." And then he goes, "No, Dad," he says, "I'm 6'2". I can't even.
Is he 6'2"?
Yeah.
See, now I always pictured Scott.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Was eating all that chicken and drinking all that milk.
Oh, yeah.
For those hormone shots.
Yeah. So he's the big Mezzapel.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's a tall drink of water.
I couldn't pick him out of a lineup.
No. So, but yeah, actually, I should show you my high school graduation picture. I still have a few of those.
The same.
There's definitely a familial resemblance.
All right. Well, that's one good thing.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
Since he's 30.
Yeah. So exactly.
Well, so do they not, with his brand of cars, do they not have the push button?
I don't know if they do or not, but it's different than what I'm used to.
Yeah, I love that. Isn't that great?
Oh, yeah.
You can push it, or you can just push it and let go. I always thell you had to go,
No, just push the button.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I've had my car for 5 years, and I'm just figuring it out. I'm still trying to figure out the wheel, the wheel and the seat position. So that would be a problem for you,
right?
And your wife, and you and your son.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there are some cars that actually have a memory. So,
so
you sit in the bucket and then it just goes back to wherever it says, okay, based on the weight, in your case, 200 pounds, right? Thereabouts.
Plus a COVID period with Cheez-Its.
Okay.
So I add 40.
Okay. So anyways, so it remembers your weight and then it just goes back to whatever position you had preset it. How cool is that?
Well, mine has like a 1 and a 2, and forever it was like, I think I was getting my remotes mixed up in there.
Wow.
But anyways, what happens with mine, and I have a GMC, is that when I turn it off, the seat will go back just a little, but the steering wheel will come right. And I have to push. Then I push it up, and I'm too lazy to
adjust the seat.
Yeah, let me go over and visit Scott. See if he can figure it out.
Oh yeah.
He's a mechanic.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of mechanics, I have to give a shout out to Todd.
Okay, cool.
He had the Beast. He had it. He says, I just said, take it till you're done. Well, I got it back. He took it last Thursday,
right?
And I got it back yesterday.
Nice.
So, the garage was empty all weekend, so I could get to the beer refrigerator.
Good. Well, that's good.
But they picked it up. I got to say this about Crown Care. They came, picked the car up out of my garage, took it over to their shop, worked on it, and it's a classic car, so they kept it for
TLC. Yeah.
And then they called me to tell me it was done, and they came and dropped it back off. I never had to touch it.
Wow, isn't that great?
And all I had to do was get my American Express out and give them hundreds of dollars. So I haven't driven it yet.
Presto change.
But that was, that's one of the great services that Crown Car Care does provide, and
Yes.
Todd's a good friend of ours, so we can't
He's
can't
yes.
diss him too bad.
No, not at all. We've got a caller on our newsmaker
No
line.
way.
Go ahead, caller.
I wonder who this caller is.
Oh, hey, Charlie. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, it's
Well,
Todd
hello.
from Crown
How are
Car
you,
Care.
Frank and John?
Frank and Johnny.
I don't drive anymore, guys.
Why?
Frank knows. Because I'm blind, basically.
Oh,
But
really?
tomorrow, I'm getting my eyes lasered
Good
so that
deal.
I can go back to my bionic self. I have permanent lenses in my eyes,
Right.
and
Wow.
the scar tissue says I need to save these things, so it grew over it.
Mm.
I thought I was going blind.
Aw.
Wow.
Nobody told me that this happens sometimes.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what the doctor said, and I said, that's why he didn't tell me.
Yeah.
It doesn't always happen.
Right.
Well,
Right.
if it happens sometimes, it'd be nice to tell people.
I mean, how much
It may
fun?
or may not happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it can, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure with you, sir.
You never know.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
I like to have give me the information.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
That's heavy duty stuff, Charlie.
And
I feel for you.
I can chew it over and see if I would like it or not. You know.
Right. Yeah, I know. So it's,
So anyway, driving a Charger, I mean, isn't that a step down for you, Frank? I've driven your car in your car.
yeah. No,
I mean, you had to put up the Maserati in the shop. huh?
yeah.
Yeah, he did. It's in there with all
I
the
mean,
other
Italian.
classics.
Why would Frank drive anything other than an Italian sports car?
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah, he's that guy who, you drive 6 inches off the ground.
Oh man.
Ooh,
yeah.
can feel it.
in
Ooh.
perfect size for a little sports
You
car.
are.
yeah.
You are.
Yeah.
You could be in the.
I tried to get into a Lotus.
Oh yeah.
I got into one when I
Right.
was in the military.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Yes.
Try it as an older person.
Yeah. It's a different
You
You
kind
mean
of
like
person
when
that
you're
was
out
with
of the
me-
military?
yeah.
The person that was with me had to help me out. He
Aw.
said, Charlie, you're gonna buy it, aren't you? I said, if I bought this, you'd have to come with the damn car.
That's right. Yeah. We have a big surprise for you, Charlie.
What's the surprise?
It's that's the
This
car
guy.
dealer saying your buddy Bill will be
feed him.
go,
I'd have to feed him and put him up.
Yeah,
Wow.
buy an extra
Mm.
pillow, everything. Yeah, I know.
Jeez. No, you're not the first one I've heard that's happened to. So,
Yeah.
and
That's why rich, wealthy guys marry young girls,
Yes,
so they can pull them in and out of the car.
that's right. Look after them in their
That's
golden
right.
years.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
it doesn't work.
I was
it
down.
doesn't work
I
the
was
other way
down in
around.
the Palm Beaches once at a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
This limo pulled up. This old guy gets out, and this quite hottie,
Uh-huh.
little arm candy.
Nice.
What a guy.
Well,
So anyway, I'm going to get off before I start entertaining everybody.
All right. Well, hey, it's 2 blinks for yes and 1 blink for no.
yeah, there you
I
go.
I called Evan this morning. That's
Yeah.
how I could call you, because I can't really read my phone. And I told him, I said, hey, he's hanging out without Bonnie. I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah, there you
He's
go.
He's thinking about it.
There you go.
It'll be
Okay,
Evan and Palm City Charlie.
Well, good luck with all that.
that could be fun.
I may have to pay them to let me on.
Yeah.
Hey, thank God for Medicare, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll put it in as it's part of my plan. I have
Yeah.
to
Put it in
entertain
this. Yeah.
Martin County.
Yeah. Put it in as a therapy session.
Plan E.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Definitely need it. Definitely need the therapy. All right. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, buddy. Thank
Take
you.
care,
All right,
man.
thanks for the
Bye-bye.
call. All right. Bye. Okay. That's great. It's always good to hear him
So
from
he's
Charlie.
getting lenses.
He's getting lasered tomorrow. So they're going to clean up the
It's not LASIK. It's
laser.
laser.
They're going to actually zap off the scar tissue.
Wow.
That's the way I understand it. So,
Well,
yeah.
have fun.
Oof. Yeah. So, yeah, we wish you great vision going
They give you
forward.
tequila shots, Charlie, before you.
Oh, good.
Yeah, 1 in each hand
Nice.
in case you spill one.
That's good. Okay.
That would be the way to go. So what are we doing?
All
Frank?
right. So we want to set this up. I've had this thing.
Sorry
this
to
thought.
put you on the spot.
No, it's okay. I've been noodling on this for a while. So you have some experience with this particular global company. It is a domestic company, and it is huge, right? And so tell about your experience with McDonald's, Mickey D's, as it's commonly referred to.
I always ask for extra pickles.
Yeah,
no,
do you?
No, for those for any of those out there listening who care, no, I was very fortunate. I worked for a company who the name of the company is Franke. In theory, they're a Swiss company, and they have many different divisions in their business. One is the kitchen sinks that we sell, stainless steel and whatnot, residential, largest residential sink manufacturer in the world. But they have other stuff. They had a big beer keg company for a while. They sold all the kegs to Heineken and Carlsbad, and you name it, they did it. And one of the sides of their business that a lot of people don't know about is they have a commercial food service equipment division, which got into McDonald's back in the mid to late 70s in the U.S.
Okay.
And really what happened is I went to work for Franke in the late 80s.
Okay.
And, at the time that I went to work for them, we were one of 3 kitchen equipment suppliers, KESs, who were authorized and approved to sell McDonald's their kitchens. But what they did at that time is they did for many years until, I've been gone 20 years. But they were just starting to change things. They had set markets where each KES could go. Some of them were cross markets, some were exclusive markets. And at the time, we were based in Philadelphia, and West Coast was off limits, and some of the Southeast companies and Midwest. And so we started out small.
Yeah.
We actually Franke owned a small refrigeration company, commercial refrigeration company called Progressive. And they expanded that into, they made one of the first salad refrigerators that were in McDonald's. If you remember back in your youth, but a little bit later, in your mature youth, McDonald's had a salad refrigerator that they had on what they call their center island. Center island is where they would pull your burgers out of the warmer and your drinks, and it was a long 16-foot place of activity.
Yes.
And so what they did is they added us in their markets, and we slowly went from being a $100 million company to, I think we're a $500 million company with them.
Night.
Because McDonald's right around the year I was leaving in when we just moved to Nashville, I have to remember where I lived. I lived in Richmond, Virginia at the time when I got hired, and I covered the mid-Atlantic states like DC, Baltimore, Virginia, North Carolina, Nashville. I was traveling. But the year that we moved to Nashville is the year that they decided to really begin their big testing on what they called Made for You. And Made for You was the system of which they made the burgers for you when you ordered them. It wasn't when you would go in there and go, well, they got 3 Big Macs in the warmer and a couple of, double,
Right.
My dad used to go in there with it. He'd say, okay, what do you guys order what you want, and will you please throw all those things in the bin out?
Yeah.
Because you never know. They had little numbers that they had on top.
Oh.
And that was working with the clock, telling them what time past what that stuff had expired. And a lot of them just didn't pay attention to it. And you could get a crispy cheeseburger, I mean,
Whoops.
And, when that stuff's been heated too long,
it dries out.
It dries out, and it loses the flavor that it was intended to have when it was created.
Right.
So, anyways.
Remember the QLT. Now I was in the Detroit market when
Yeah.
the QLT came out, and it was being test marketed.
That was
up
the
there.
soy burger. Was it not?
No, it's quarter pounder with lettuce and tomato.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. And
Well-
and so they gave up on it because I thought about that when you were talking about refrigeration, because their whole notion was to offer the hot hamburger, but they have the lettuce and the tomato cold and
so it was
crispy.
on the other side,
Right.
and you would put it together.
And they just couldn't make it.
No,
But I tell you what, it was great.
that was a quarter pounder, right?
QLT.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
See, then they had this thing that had an abbreviated. I think it was the LM. No, I'm just kidding. It was the they had this soy burger, which was early vegan.
Okay.
And it was soy, and it was a burger.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I ordered it, I said, "Can I have some mayo with that, please?" Because it was just not
too dry.
So that was a thing. I mean, I saw them go through a lot of testing. I've been to their test kitchens. I've been to their markets. I mean, the things I've seen.
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
You can't unsee.
You know, my brother, who I worked for, just offered we were called market managers at the time when I started, and the thing he said is, you just remember, do not eat a cheeseburger every day, or you'll be dead by the time you're 40.
Oof.
Now, there's nothing against that, because what was that Warren Buffett? He has Egg McMuffin every morning.
Every morning.
He's not doing too bad.
Yeah.
His arteries are hardened, but everything just kind of shoots down through the metal shaft. But that's pretty cool. And so if I owned McDonald's, and I knew people who owned one McDonald's, I knew people who owned 65 McDonald's. Right. It's crazy.
Right.
So anyways, with the avenue of Made for You coming into play, that changed everything at McDonald's. It was it was something that they figured it would take them about maybe 3 years to implement. And when we retrofitted the restaurants at this time, we were down to 2 kitchen equipment suppliers. We did, what did we do? 27,000 restaurants in a year and a half. Wow. They thought it would take 3 years, but I'll tell you, it took 3 years out of my life, because, I was gone.
Yeah.
I got the call on Christmas Eve of 1997 that they were going ahead with the first big test market over in Greenville, North Carolina. And they had 2 other ones, but I'm so old now, I can't remember. And anyways, and I was, at the beginning, we were all responsible for it, but we were making the special equipment that we were inventing as we went. So through these gyrations we went through, traveling, educating regions, here's what's coming, here's what you have to do. It was endless.
Right.
But in the end, it was done. And that to this day, that was let's just say that was 1998, 99.
Sure.
Here we are, and it's still, if you notice when you go into the McDonald's, they don't have your food anywhere. They just are putting it together for you.
Yeah.
And, they have, they're quarter pounder grill machines. They do a quarter pounder in about, I want to say it's a minute and a half.
Okay.
Because it's dual sided cooking. They have a platen that comes down, and, cooks that quarter pound. And then they can do the 10-to-1s, which is what they call the regular burgers. They do those in about 30 or 90 seconds. I don't know. And then they have, I'm not giving up the ghost here, folks, because you know what? Everybody copied them.
Yeah.
They had toasters that would toast the bread and the bun in like 5 seconds. Wow. You just shoot it down. They had the chicken McNugget machine that would load the chicken basket nuggets within and lower them in, and there's a lot of crazy inventions going on.
Nice.
And so anyways, with that going on, and they rescinded their markets, they shrunk them down, they consolidated. I'm kind of glad I got out when I did, because it's confusing to me now, but I still have McDonald's people that call me and want me to, hey, how you doing, man?
They want to reminisce with you.
Yeah,
Sure.
And I know a lot of people. We know a lot of people. within our company. My brother was the head of our group, and I have to say, my brother Tom was probably one of the sharpest forks in the drawer when he came up with ideas. He always thought outside the box. And, now as it goes, other than knowing a lot of the top notch people, he knows a lot of people who are running countries now who used to be out in the markets. This guy was a field service manager in Norfolk, and now he's running, Slovakia or something. So that's one of the cool parts of it.
So so basically, I was watching a news program earlier, and one of the things that they said is basically you want to adhere to 3 basic rules in business leadership, and that is you offer the best product service that you can, right? So sometimes it's product only, sometimes it's product and the service to provide that product.
Very good.
Then the number 2 item is customer service. You want to respect your customer. You want to offer them deference, right?
Yep.
And the 3rd item is you want to keep your employees happy. So you really touched on all those things because, of course, happiness was your financial reward for your efforts, right?
Yeah.
And you feel, 20 years. So obviously you feel like you were properly compensated.
Yeah. I those are really good points, Frank, because I remember at one point, example, I had to go out to the Nashville region, which basically was based in Nashville and covered 3/4 of Tennessee. I mean, all the way over from, say, Crossville, all the way over to Memphis.
Right.
And in there, what was cool is I worked, you worked on new stores and remodels. It wasn't just the implementation in these stores of this, but we had X amount of new stores in a market, and we had
they were
remodels that happened.
Opening new stores left and right.
I need a new fry station. I need a new grill. I need this. I need that. I need this. So we had to coordinate all that. So it wasn't, you weren't an order taker out there for new stores. It was work.
Sure.
And I think the biggest thing that I was able to do is I really, if you know me, like me, I mean, I would go out there and I remember seeing one guy in Knoxville out near Dollywood. And the last time he had dealt with Frankie, they did a new store, and it was just when Frankie had kind of started. And they shipped him, they back ordered his front counter, his stainless steel front counter. And so they said, well, you're going to have to pay for that to ship. And I'm seeing him and he's going, I said, look here's the deal, John. His name was John with an H. I said, you just deal with me. I am Frankie. I am it. And so he went through all his stuff with me and we got him all squared away. And that's what you had to do. Right. So
honor your customers. Yes.
Yeah. The rest of the region, I worked that way with the project managers who were responsible for building the store. Right. And then they had field service guys who were working with the owner operator. And so when you have the project manager and the field service guy telling the owner, I'll tell you, this guy, John Campion, he's the guy you want. Now I'm not, it kind of sounds cool being able to talk about myself because I took that region from 0% Frankie to 100% in about 2 years.
Yeah.
And the irony of that was Frankie ended up moving their complete operation to Tennessee a few years later. And their factory was down in Fayetteville, which is just above Huntsville. And that's where they made their fabrication for the commercial food service. And then they, on top of that, we had our corporate office was up in Smyrna. And none of the corporate guys, us corporate weenies, which when I went down there, I was promoted from a market manager to VP of sales. So none of us wanted to live in Fayetteville. So we lived up in Brentwood and Franklin, and we lived in some nice places. And it was just, 20 years ago, Nashville was really cool. I mean, I'm not saying it's not now. It's just crazy. So, somebody just told me they were there recently. And if you could count all the cranes, you had, more fingers than anybody ever had in your life. So, but, it was a big change from our group going to Philly down to Nashville. And a big change. We started out, we brought 6 people down, and by right now they have over 700 people working at their facilities down
Isn't that
there.
amazing?
Yeah.
What a transformation.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break.
We are.
And when we come back, we'll talk about the last 10,000. No, we'll be right back. Frank,
Yes,
great,
we got more
great
to
idea.
cover.
Yeah, we'll talk to you all in a minute. Leadership in business. We'll be right back with John and Frank. Thanks for listening.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
again,
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto!
wrong hat.
I take a 7.5.
Now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Grab a bucket and mop. Scrub the bottom and top. There is nothing so clean as my burger machine. With a broom and a brush, clean it up for the rush. Before you open the door, want to shine on the floor. When we finish one day, start all over again. Tell me, what does it mean? At McDonald's it's clean. You deserve all praise today. So get up and get away. To McDonald's, McDonald's, McDonald's.
All right. What a lead in, huh?
Well, those were the days,
Right?
And that was before my day, but I'm telling you.
Well, it's a 70s commercial.
Well, yeah. Hey, I'll tell you, but back, well, go ahead.
But I mean, I'm saying that's the equipment.
Persona.
I think. Yeah.
Sure. Well,
So-
they've been through, I'm telling you, there's
Several iterations.
It,
Yes.
It'd be fun to go, like when I first started and we go into a store. I knew nothing about equipment, and all of a sudden I'd hear one of the people I'm training with going, "Oh my God, look what they got in here!" I haven't seen one of those since I was at
It's vintage.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Well, this is a vintage commercial, so it all.
well, I
works
got to
out.
tell you, a really cool story was back in, I've lived a lot of places as we've talked about
Mhm.
before, but when we moved to Chicago, my sister, Jill, who of course, sorry, Jill, I hope you're listening. You're going to be 70 this year. Anyway, she's the oldest, Tom's the middle, and I'm the baby, of course. That's
Uh-huh.
why I'm here.
Okay.
get away with murder.
Yeah.
But on her senior year, she had she didn't even remember this, but I did. She had a party in our basement with my parents at home, and she had her boyfriend's band play. You know, they were playing in the basement.
Wow.
You know,
Sure. Yeah.
one of
As you
those.
do. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, so Dad says, "John, come on." I was probably like in 4th grade or something. Okay, Dad. Go with him. We go up to the local Golden Arches, you know, the Speedy.
Right.
I mean, this is the walk-up one. This is in
Sure.
Deerfield. This is in 1969, 1970.
Yeah.
And in between the 2 windows in the front, they have a big box that in it is like 72 hamburgers. Wow. Now, of course, you know, this is when they had limited menu.
Right.
Hamburgers and cheeseburgers.
Right.
So the guy says, "Can I help you, sir?" He goes, "Yeah, you know, my dad knew all this stuff." He goes, "Yeah, I want this box." He goes, "You know, it was this Friday night box, man, and people are waiting in line." He's just pulling from the box. He goes, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Yeah, I want that box." Okay. Let me talk to my manager. Comes back, okay. So he hands the box. Maybe they came around and gave it to us, took the box home, had all these hamburgers. I'm sitting up in my bedroom going, "Wow, this is great, man."
Good living.
I've never eaten it. But you know, that was typical of my father doing stuff in excess.
Yeah.
And the way things were.
Right.
And you know, that was the days of
I'll take a box.
I'll take the box. You can't give me a bigger box, buddy.
Wow,
Yeah,
that
was
great.
very good.
Good
And,
memories. Good stuff.
They were, you know, it was a really fun place to grow up. And the other cool thing that I will tell, and I've probably told this story before, and if I'm getting boring, make sure I shut up.
That's your show.
But as you know, the developer, creator of McDonald's is Ray Kroc.
Yes.
And of course, he was big out in San Diego. The owners of this radio station had met him and, you know, knew him. And my mom and dad got to fly on his jet once. But besides that, he had his first employee we've talked about. If you don't remember his name, it's okay, but it's Fred Turner.
Ah.
And a lot of people remember that movie that was on not long ago with, it was starring Ray Kroc as it was him in it mostly. And it was showing all the stuff out in the West Coast with the McDonald's brothers. But he was the guy who was on the grill, cleaning the grill when Ray Kroc came behind him in the movie and said, "Now that's the way to do it. Son, what's your name?" "Fred Turner, sir." "Well, Fred Turner, you know what you're doing. You know how to clean that grill." Well, Fred was the very first employee. He was a field consultant. Wow. He was Ray Kroc's right-hand guy. And he lived in Deerfield where we lived. And his daughter, Patty Sue, one of his 3 daughters, went to Catholic school with me. And it was the 6th grade. And we're Catholics. We're young Catholic boys. And so it would be my friend Bob Simon and Jeff Seberg and me and Patty Sue Turner, Pam Lenz, and Kathy Calcavecchio.
Oh, yeah.
And the 3 of us, the 6 of us, would go down to Farmer's Pond and we'd take turns going into the woods making out.
Yes.
So I always remind my friends, if I would have known who her daddy was, I wouldn't even be hanging around telling you this story.
Oh,
but
my goodness.
I'm here, so there must be a reason
survived
for
the
it.
experience, right?
But pretty crazy.
Wow,
so
that's great.
So Fred was you know, he actually became, you know, the family knew him well because he dealt with my father, then he dealt with my brother, and he didn't have to deal with me because my brother killed him. You know? Hey, Campion, you know, the guy's always had a cigarette and a cocktail in his hand. You know, he was ready to go. So some very cool people, individuals that met at the company.
Right.
That's for sure.
Right. But
yeah.
So
and I was just the little guy. So it was a lot of fun. Got to go to a lot of cool parties and see a lot of stuff.
Right.
One of the things that you and I talked about briefly was the Moscow store.
Yes.
When that opened up in
it was about 32 years ago.
Yeah. Well, my dad and my brother were over there. And my brother has a video. It's like Super 8 millimeter.
Oh, I got to see that.
And it's got, he took it around to a bunch of regions and showed it to people when
Mhm.
he took it. But, in there was Buddy Hackett, Malcolm Forbes, lot of movie stars
Mhm.
and a lot of people. And, we had one guy, I ended up getting his stores out of Cleveland, Tennessee, Hank Smith and his son. They needed something to clog the tub. His wife wanted to take a bath, and there was no drain plug. So my dad whips out a Top Flight 5 with the Frankie logo on it and says, "Here, try this." Well, we were in Schaefer City after that. I did all the guys' stores after that, and pretty amazing.
Top Flight.
Yeah.
Saves the day again.
Saves the day.
Wow, that is great.
And but
so fast forward to today, recent news. I got a little sound clip from the BBC.
Okay.
Is selling its business in Russia in response to the war in Ukraine. Burger chain said it wasn't consistent with its values to continue operating there. McDonald's temporarily closed all its Russian outlets in March. The BBC's Russian editor, Steve Rosenberg, says it's very much the end of an era.
Well,
So, yeah. So, I mean, we don't have to belabor, but end of an era.
Yeah.
And 62,000 employees. And from what I gather, McDonald's said that they are endeavoring to sell the stores to somebody else. They cannot use the anything McDonald's, name, products, nothing. But they can do whatever they want with those stores. They just can't use any of the McDonald's identification. Right. And but in the meantime, while they're transitioning to whoever that new owner may be for the short while, they will continue to get paid, which is good on McDonald's, for that. 62,000
See if I
people.
can find that out. That would be interesting to know. My first thought is, hey, why not just change them into in and outs, and you don't have to worry about the color scheme.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
Right?
That's brilliant. Yeah.
Gosh,
I like it.
I'm coming to work next week.
But yeah, so it's
Wow.
and it really goes to again making hard decisions, but being a leader. And you say, okay, well, we want to keep our employees safe. We don't feel like right now, because of what's going on, it's a safe environment to work in.
Yeah.
I mean, that's part of it. And the other part of it is there could be some political reasons, but safety, I mean, that's got to be number one.
Oh,
reason,
sure. Oh, yeah.
You
It's not a safe place anyways,
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to tell you from that, I'm sitting here thinking, I hope my brother put that on a drive.
Oh, yeah.
Because one of the things that I remember in there that really stood out was he was showing these kids eating a Big Mac for the first time.
Wow.
And they peel off the top and they take the pickles and eat one pickle at a time.
Yeah.
And, make it the whole gamut of making their way down through the Big Mac. Not us,
Right. No, you just. Well, so they want to savor every piece of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't, it's better than borscht.
Borscht.
Thank you. No, mine was borscht. Excuse me.
Oh my God.
I need something to clean this up.
Well, I would, when I was in Boy Scouts with as leadership in Boy Scouts, when my son was in Scouts, there was another father. Him and I would pal up together, and the first camping night we would rotate because so we would generally, I think, arrive like Friday evening, just as sun, is going down. We'd pop up the tent.
Wolves are coming out.
Right. So we'd set up camp, and of course you don't have time to start a fire, make a meal. That's not going to happen so Ray and I, adults, we're not Boy Scouts. We're just leaders. We can do adult meals, right? So when I was in charge, I would bring Italian sausage, peppers and onions, and nice hoagie rolls. And then when he was, because his last name is Klein, is kind of a German thing. So he would bring in the bratwurst.
I know nothing.
Yes. So we would
Nice.
So we would alternate between Italian sausage and bratwurst.
That's
and,
great.
Yeah, yeah. And but it was
You had a good time.
great. Yeah. Yeah.
No doubt.
But we didn't peel it and eat it one piece at a no.
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 I'm done with mine. Are you done with yours? That's funny.
It's
Well,
great. Well, it's time for our
another-
last break.
Okay.
And
I will allow that
okay.
as the okay, we'll be
Fair
right
enough.
back. This
Yes.
is Leadership in Business with Frank Mezzapel and John Campion, your host from European Kitchen and Bath. So we'll be right back.
All right. Stay tuned.
Hey, we're back.
We are.
We are back on Leadership in Business.
Yes.
This is John Campion with Frank Mezzapel. We've got just a few minutes left
We
to
do.
slowly
Closing comments.
comment our way out of here. It's one of those things, a radio show. I do it. One reason I like to do it is I like supporting these guys, but I also do it kind of for myself, for a little outlet. And I don't do the best planning because I'm so busy during the day, and all of a sudden it's time to come over here. And if I'm not on my way over here, Frank calls me and reminds me.
Just want to make sure.
Yes, I know. It's I've passed
in.
those bad habits from the days.
Checking in with my good buddy.
The days when I'd be on the radio and wouldn't remember, and then I'd remember about 10 after 6 when I was at home with all. Well, yeah, good job, Frank.
That's all good.
But I got to tell you, there's one of the things that happens in here is having Frank as a resource for things going on, and also for things that have happened, because there's a really incredible history in the area. I had a woman call me today who was pushing, I don't know what she was pushing something, but she had so much fun talking to me.
Yeah.
She goes, I've never had more fun talking. I said, well, if
more fun than a barrel of monkeys,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. She goes, I don't like going to big box. I said, well, yeah. And she goes, you sound like a really fun guy. I said, well, and you really support the people around you. I said, well, it's one of the things for the success of our little communities around here is the people who, shop with us,
right,
and get it, because it's going to go away at some point, and then people will go, whatever happened, and we'll go, well, put me on my soapbox, I'll drill you.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that happen that are disappointing, and
right.
Of course, now everybody's talking about. Let me just leave it this way with the end of our show. Everybody's talking about how some big boxes are getting too big.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Amazon is running into some really huge growth crunches.
Mm-hmm.
Now that they've become, here's my big question, Frank, you may know the answer.
Now
that they've become the biggest employer
in
Florida. Did you know that?
I did not.
They're the biggest employer in Florida because they built these 3.
One in Tampa, right?
Well, they built 3 up here in the Treasure Coast. And so they've got, thousands of people.
Yes.
And now the thing is, are they paying sales tax now?
If you make a purchase in state, then you have to pay sales tax.
Yeah, because they're an employer in our state.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't always an employer in our state. And for how many years have I fought that along with all my brothers
now there's
and
some
sisters?
new legislation that I'm aware of that, and it's not with all products or all companies, but sometimes some products now you have to pay this sales tax, even though you're buying it online.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
That's the way it should be.
Mm-hmm.
We did not charge sales tax for a while when we were competing with that. It was, we're not going to charge them tax. Well, now you have to, you need to, and we do.
Right.
And we make sure we charge enough for freight.
Yes, you want to cover that because sales tax is a small part of it. The freight,
and the freight that the big box people, they must be getting. Somebody must be helping them, or everything costs them a dime.
Mm.
So stuff is not cheap to ship, especially now. So
if it's got weight to it,
it's starting to affect all these big box people's bottom lines, and it's really messing them up. And I couldn't be any happier. I couldn't be any happier.
Right?
Yep. And too bad. I mean, if I go into one of those stores, I start getting the dry heaves, and I give my friends a hard time, and it's not easy to do, but it is what it is. And it's that way for me. And I don't know how other business people around me feel, other than I know plenty don't feel very good about it. So, so that's my take on what's going on there. But,
so we really covered most of the things, right? The 3 rules. You offer the best products and services you can, which you live up to that every day.
Carry that in our business. We're talking about that today. Really interesting.
Right. And then respect the customer. You talked about that when you said you had that client that, he had a back ordered counter, and, he had to pay the freight, and he says, I'll work it out.
Yeah, you know,
You're dealing with me. I'll fix it.
And
I'll
the-
make it right.
in the long run for that was over 30 years ago, is that
Right.
sometimes when we screw up at our company or do
Mhm.
the wrong thing and you end up going, well, that's going to cost us several hundred, or it's the cost of doing business,
Right.
man.
Right.
You cannot, say we're going to have you pay the freight. No, I'm not going through that.
Right.
I'm just
You
not
got to
going
treat
through
the
it.
customer right, and you treat them with respect, and you want to be treated the way you want to be
Yeah,
treated.
there are some crazy customers out
Well,
there
yeah.
who don't get it,
Right.
and you
But
just
the ones
deal
that
with
get it, that you understand their plight, and you, if you were in their position, you'd be asking the same questions.
Sure.
And those are the ones you want to go out of your way to help.
That's right.
I think.
If they're nice and they understand and they're having dialogue with you,
Mhm.
if they're ignoring your calls and owe you money and are
Right.
evil people who
Right.
should get
We
rid
don't
of.
need
No,
that.
no. Please walk across the street now. No. Where'd that charger come from? Frank, thanks.
Hey, thank you,
That was
John.
fun.
Let's give out your phone number, some contact information, and
For-
direct people to your website
for
too.
a good time call. No, hey, our website, which has got this incredible thing on it called the wish list. You can look at our whole database and you can pick items and send them to us, and we can get you hooked up. So our phone number in Stewart is, which is what we're going to focus on all the time, is 221-3990, 221-3990. And our website is very simple, European Sync at gmail.com.
Okay.
Okay.
See ya. Bye.
Yep.